Hello folks, welcome to Canal Channel Jose. Today we're going to give you an idea how you can replace the front wheel seals on a 2004 E-350. This might be applied for the 99 to 2007. And if your system looks like what we'll be working on, can help you, give you an idea how you can do that replacement. And for this task, we're going to replace the wheel seals and we are going to re-grease the bearings so we can start with fresh grease. And we're going to show you how we do this so you can save a lot of money. The parts are pretty inexpensive. The labor is where it gets expensive. So with that said, let's jump right into it. So for this job, we'll be using the part number is 4160 wheel seal, and this is the brand Duralast, and there's one per tire, so that's why we're using two. And this is how the wheel seals look like. So to replace the front wheel seals on this truck and repack or re-grease the bearings, we're gonna have to lift our van, set it on a jack stand, and then take off the wheel so we can have access to the rotor, the front rotor. We're doing the passenger side, and what you do to one side is the same procedure to the other side, is just left and right. So let's start by taking this rotor off to replace a wheel seal. So to take off this rotor, what we're gonna have to do is we have to remove the brake caliper completely off by removing the two main bolts for the caliper off, and then we're gonna secure it from the spring so it's out of the way. So that way we can start taking that rotor off. To remove this caliper, we have to remove this 21mm bolt right here, and there's one more in the bottom, and we'll show you where it is. And here's the other one in the bottom right there. And what I have done is I have turned my wheels so I can expose more of the bolts where I'm going to be working at and be able to work out here and not all the way tucked in there. So now that I have loosened the bolts for the caliper, I'm going to take off this 8mm bolt right here for the sensor. And that way when I put this caliper right on the coil, it gives me the play so I can hang it from there and this wire doesn't get stretched out. Now that I have taken off that bolt or the sensor from the spindle, we can take off this caliper from here and put it right on the coil and hang it from there. And I'm using regular wire to hang up this caliper right in there. So now that I have hanged this caliper right on the spring with those wires, we can start taking this cover off to expose the mechanism that releases this rotor from the spindle. We have to take this off, remove some locking device and a nut, and then this will come off. So now that we remove the cover, we clean a little bit to expose the cotter pin that goes through here to remove it. Then we remove this locking device here that prevents that nut that holds all this in place, so we can remove it and then extract our rotor. So now to remove that nut, we're gonna be using a 27mm socket. That's what it works for us. So that shouldn't be too tight in there. We're just gonna spin it off so we can get a washer and then the whole rotor out. So now that we have taken all the nut and the washer off, there's the bearing, the outer bearing. We pull it out, and then what's gonna be left is gonna be the rotor with the inner bearing and the inner seal. Now here's the spindle. We clean it completely off from the old grease. So now to repack these bearings with grease, what we're gonna have to do, we remove the wheel seal, we remove the inner bearing, we clean it, then we clean all the grease from the inside the rotor, and then we repack it with grease and we re-grease the bearing, put a new seal on it. So now that we have cleaned the whole inside of this rotor, what we do is we add new grease to it, and then we clean the inner bearing. We grease it up again, we put it in, and then we put the seal on, so that way we can start working this back into the van. I'm using gas or fuel, so that way I can get them clean off of all that old grease. So here are the clean bearings. So now we just spray some of brake cleaner to get all the residuals that are left behind before we start greasing them up. Now that they're clean, we start greasing up the inner wheel bearing. And when you're greasing up these bearings, you want to make sure that the grease gets all the way in there, because you don't want just the surface. You want to make sure it gets, you spin it and you keep adding grease. And then once you get it all packed in, and then you install it. Now that we have grease out the inner wheel bearing, we put it in, we add more grease to the inner side, and then we put the wheel seal, and then we can start heading over to the truck and put it on. So for me to put this wheel seal on it, what I'm gonna do is I present it the right way, then I put a piece of wood on it, and then I tap on it so it starts pressing it into the rotor evenly. So now that we have our inner wheel bearing and the seal installed evenly, now we can install the rotor, then repack with grease the outer bearing, and then clean all this up and install all this. So now we have re-greased our outer bearing. We throw some more grease in there. We put the outer bearing in, and we start sliding everything on in the nut and secure this point. Now we just put the cover on. Now we clean the rotor from any grease or oils that are attached to the surface. So now we just let it evaporate, and then once we do that, we get our caliper, unhook it from the spring, put it over it where it needs to be, put the 2 bolts on, tighten them, and then we come over here and we put this bracket bolt on to this area where it needed to be with the 8mm little bolt right here. So that way we can continue on putting the wheel on. So now that we have put the caliper right where it needs to be, we grab the 2 21mm bolts, we put some Loctite on them, we put them on, and we tighten them to secure the caliper to the spindle. So now that we have tightened that structure into the spindle, we come over and we grab this ABS sensor. We take out the little bolt, or we put that 8mm bolt, and we tighten it down. And there it is. That's how easy you can repack these bearings, re-grease them, and replace the seal on this truck. Well, folks, hopefully this video was useful and helpful on how to replace the front wheel seals on this truck. And the most important part about this is to lift your truck, set it on jack stand, so that way you can work on a safe environment. And that way you can save a lot of money on the labor, because that's the expensive part. The parts are pretty inexpensive. They're about $8 a piece. But the labor, that's where it gets expensive. So we did replace the both seals, and we repack the bearings with new grease, so that way we start with a fresh lubrication for the front bearings. So with that said, folks, for friends who are watching our video, have to subscribe to our channel. Please subscribe. If you like a video, give us thumbs up, share it, and we'll see you soon with more videos here on el canal El Chano Jose.